But gee, I thought you're supposed to be installing tint from the inside. Well, yes, but not for this one. So today we're gonna show you an update. You all really liked that video when we actually did the tint on top. And since that video, and even before then, we were already sourcing new films from our manufacturer and overseas from our partners. And we think, and we did, finally find a product that was actually really, really good. And what we're going to be installing is, this is a 2018 Model 3, 2017 all the way to 2023, I think. And in those, you definitely felt the heat coming from this roof right here, because it literally beats down on the driver and the passenger side. So that has been actually one of the complaints. And since then, I said in the other video, in the Cybertruck and the Juniper, Tesla has done a phenomenal job of actually coating it in a certain way that does protect it from heat rejection and so on. But a lot of other people have still said that they still feel a little bit of the heat. The other reason why you would potentially do this is, I had an incident a few years back where a rock hit something here and it went up and it literally hit this corner and it cracked this top part. Actually, it was a Model Y. So the Model Y was actually the whole thing. It's not connected in two. Traditionally, tint is always on the inside, but I don't feel comfortable selling a DIY tint or a product that people might potentially damage their interior while they're doing it. And on top of that, because it's on the outside and it's a TPU, which is a PPF film, it actually acts as a barrier in between the rock and the actual glass, which then could save you some money and potentially even time from being at the collision or any store, right, or service center. So I have two options here that we actually already offer. This is the black. This is actually about a 17% VLT. And for those of you who are now just getting to accessories and tinting and all that, VLT is what you think is opposite. That means that only 17% of the light flows through whatever you're looking at, which means that it's darker. And then you got 70%, it means 70% of the light will go through. Of course, we have two different tints and hue. This is more of a bluish. And of course, this is like a traditional smoky black. If you're wondering, hey man, why don't you put it on the windshield? Well, it's not rated for that. It's not rated for a surface. And also, you gotta understand, windshield has a lot more of an angle. So when you look at it, it feels like there's a lot more distortion than a glass that is flatter like this. The rear could damage, but I think it's less likely just because it's in the back. But then, I said that, and yet, there's a chip right here from a rock. So it does happen. Of course, this is an older car. This is a 2018, which means in the last 8 years, that's what happened. This is the first time that this glass particularly broke a little bit and chipped, but that's not terrible and it's not breaking through. So some of those might be just fine. And this back window in particular is already tinted from the inside. So with that being said, this video is not necessarily instructional. We're gonna have a separate video for that where I talk less and I really just show you how to do it. But in this video, we wanted to show you the intro of like some of the updates of the materials that we kind of have now and a little bit of how to install. So you got the two right here. We're gonna be doing it with the blue because I think a lot of people, I don't know, like when we first launched this, it was kind of like a 50-50. Like I think 50% wanted the black and then 50% wanted kind of like the lighter. So when we first did the video, we started using Hexus, which is an amazing film. It worked really, really well. It was clear, it was easy to install, great product. The only thing was it didn't have any protection. And I think it's just one of those things, like if you're gonna go to your lengths to really do this, I feel like you need a little bit more. And I felt like that UV and the IR rejection was kind of what we needed to make this product a reality. So that's kind of where we came about and where we ended up in this process right here. So the next thing we're gonna be doing is we're gonna roll this thing. Okay, we're gonna roll this thing. The other cool thing about this is because typically tint is a very different construction, and in tint, you do what you do like completely opposite from paint protection film. Paint protection film, you stretch, and you stretch into place. Tint is usually and almost always shrunk. So you basically have to cut a certain direction when we cut and we send it to you, and then you have to shrink it and you'll see all these fingers, and then once you shrink it, you install from the inside. So in this case, we're doing it from the outside and it's not shrinking, we're actually stretching. And if you do have a friend too, like that can help, it does also help. but I'm just gonna do the solo. Got it? It does help if someone can just do that. Okay. So we're gonna just go ahead and pull, and I'm gonna go to the other side now. And then I'm just gonna pull the liner. And it's done. I wish. All right, so right off the bat, it looks definitely blue. It is a light blue film, but it really doesn't look that bad. Like I said, it doesn't blend. Like, it doesn't look terrible. Like if you just did here, and then you didn't do the back right there, right? So it's a very light film, guys. It is literally 70%. So honestly, you're not gonna see a whole lot of difference, but it still has that rejection property. And it really depends on the darkness. And most states, guys, won't have any objection on whether you tint the roof as dark as you want or you don't, which is why we kind of offered it. And I think that becomes literally a preference, right? Like how dark do you want it? Do you want it dark or do you want it kind of light? That's really it. That's all it boils down to. One of the things too is when you are doing this, highly recommend, keep your car inside a little bit before you do this, because if you do this we really should have let this car in a lot longer before we started this video, but sometimes we don't get what we want. So you can see that it's already really sticky, and I'm struggling a little bit with some of that. And then depending on the humidity, like for example, today is insanely humid. Definitely want to use a little bit more slip so that it doesn't do this, right? I want to get underneath there. Just spray a lot more of that slip. Oh yeah, now it is fully released. Right off the bat, it feels really light, which is kind of what you want, okay? So now that we've kind of released it, we're gonna go ahead and start on one side. I always like starting from the driver's side, like this. And you just wanna make sure that all bubbles are kind of out of there, right? Big bubbles, right? Big bubbles like this. Once it's on, you can barely see it. Look at this. I mean, it's kind of hard to see, but it's a little bit before that. Same thing here. The lining up right here is so good. And so good right there. So once you feel comfortable with that, we're gonna use something called Tack, which is typically a water mostly, but there's a little bit of alcohol. And when you do this, it tacks this corner in place. And I can see right here, I love this alignment right here. Looks really good. And I'm just gonna make sure that this is still good. All right, sometimes it shifts, so just make sure that it doesn't shift too much when you're doing this. So great job right here. And then I wanna go ahead and just pull this in place. And notice how I'm kind of pulling with my palm. Right, do you notice this? Because I'm just kind of pulling the tension because I don't want any overhang right here. Okay, meaning I don't want it to be coming off right here. And I'm just focusing on the edges right here. We want this to last for a long time. So this is gonna last roughly about 5 years. And then now we just need to make sure that it's free. And what I mean by that is it's not stuck anywhere around this area. So what I'll do is like this big bubbles right here, you need to get rid of that. The best analogy that I could give of what we're trying to do is we're anchoring, you know, if there was an A, B, and C, B being the middle, C being right here that I'm at, we're basically anchoring the two. We're creating tension, and instead of pulling on the edges, we're pulling the middle. Why? Because if you pull on the edges, it might push back, right? Or pull back. You're just trying to flush out all this soap, and you don't want to see all these bubbles. That's what's actually preventing it from sticking very well. And now you're just gonna go ahead and tack it in place. the palm technique. Look at that. You see how it tacked? We're gonna do the same thing right here. Flush all this out with water. By the way, this is distilled water, not just water. I know that sounds like the same thing, but it's not. It's a big difference in PPF of having good water. Awesome. All right, so here's the next deal. I have a little overhang right here, so I do need to bring this in just a tiny bit, just like that. And when I do that, it actually aligns a lot better right there. So that's kind of where I want to be. I'm going to go ahead and tack the middle down with the hot water right here. Get rid of all this. Okay, it's right before that, and then I'm going to go ahead and go up the middle. Okay, up and then down, up, down, and so on. Right? That's a big bubble. You are going to use a little bit more, I guess, harder strokes than I would on PPF, but in the beginning you can kind of go a little lighter, actually, and then that's pretty much it. Don't forget to spray some slip on top layer. Because I did that middle part is a very important step, because I did that, I can kind of work my way like this. This is just hot water. Shoot some of that Tack water. Nice. Now that installed, come with me, check this out. Look at this view. Look at that. So I just installed it. So there's a little bit of a haze, but it will clear out once you kind of get outside and the adhesive completely sets in place. But you can tell, I mean, we did tint the rear about 50% or 70, I forget what it is, but it is already sort of tinted. And there's a gradient that goes, but you really can't tell from the inside the difference between the two. And then this is another thing that you do want to do is when you are done, you could actually go inside and then kind of inspect from the inside as well. But this looks pretty good. Pretty happy with it. So we also just installed the 17%, which is the black version of the sunroof. And for our instructional, and look how dark it is, but I kind of like it. It's like, it's going to be interesting when we're outside, but again, I think this will come at a very, like, it's going to be a preference. Do you want it really dark, but still be able to see kind of outside and have the heat rejection? Or are you going to, you know, want like super light and have a little bit more, a little heat rejection as well? So I think this looks fantastic. Like, I really can't tell. There's tint in the back. I think we put 3M on the back here. This is a ceramic IR. It has a bluer hue to it. So maybe there's a slight difference, but this is true. I feel like this is true black. It's not gray. It's not blue. It feels like very much of a black, right? So, and I prefer that actually. My personal opinion is like, I want it black instead of like blue, purple, or anything else. The blue I can deal with though, to be honest. I really don't mind the blue, but I think the purple is what I don't prefer. So this is what it looks like. Looks fantastic. Literally installed this like 2 minutes ago, and it looks pretty dang clear already. Or we might actually just pull it out real quick. Here's the thing. I swear, every time we do and decide to do this video, it always turns out overcast. It's like the worst time to do this. But I think some people will really like this, and some people, again, I said earlier, it's going to be a preferential thing. Some people will like it really dark like this or really light. So we kind of offered two. We felt like that would cover both of the audiences. But it does have a 99% UV rejection and about 91 to 95, up to 95% of IR rejection. So it has some of those heat rejection capabilities. And that's why I think this would be a really good fit for a lot of people. Man, Marley, looks good, doesn't it? I'm curious to hear your opinion, but look how nice it looks. So if you look here, come a little closer. This is kind of how it'll look. It's right to the edge. And in tinting, you do something called a finger test. You don't want it past that edge either. And then even like here, it's like a little bit inside. So I mean, obviously you could, there's gonna be a little bit of variances, but even in the front, it's a little before that. But now if anything hits this, it's protected with a film and it's good, looks great. I like it a lot. But yeah, hopefully this kind of gave you an overview of how to install it. Can you, I want to get that finger in the back, but can you tell that I have something on here, you think?
I think it just looks more purple. Like you can tell that.
A little bit more purple? Yeah, because there is like a reddish hue. I mean, they stopped doing that, right? We used to get a rainbow roof on the rear, the original 2018, which this one is. So when you add the light blue, it kind of purpleizes it even more, right? But from an outside perspective,
You really can't tell.
no, it's rarely a thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So hopefully this video helped. We're really excited to get some of these kits out really soon. We've got a big production run we're doing, and then we're gonna get this out to you so you can do it. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. We're gonna have the instruction out very, very shortly. And stay protected, and we'll see you later.